What's happening, folks? It's John from Alpha Fitness here, and I'm going to be talking about how I train. And it's basically the conjugate method, and that is when you separate your body into upper and lower days and train maximum effort 2 of the days and dynamic or speed work the other 2 days. So I'm going to get into it. Basically how it goes is you're going to program your main lift to be either a maximum effort or a speed effort. So maximum effort would be working on something that's heavy, basically. So you might do 5 sets of 5 on the bench press, for example, and work up to a top set of 5 reps, and that would be your 5 rep max. You could also do multiple sets, and once you figure out what your percentages are and what weight you're doing, you might do 3 sets of 5 at a prescribed weight, and then the plan would be to hit it and to beat it the next time. In terms of the speed work, what you're going to do is you're going to have multiple sets, sometimes up 10 or even 12, smaller reps. So generally speaking, the way that they program it at Westside Barbell is they will do 1 rep for the deadlift and up to about 6 sets. You'll do 2 reps for the squat and sometimes up to 10 or more sets, and then for the bench press, classically it's 3 reps and about 9 sets, because you're going to change your hand grip on the bench to being narrow, wide, and your regular position. Now what you're meant to do on your speed days is try and produce as much speed as possible, because you're trying to move the weight very fast, so that when it comes to lifting a weight, when it's very heavy, you're applying as much pressure as possible. So even when you're grinding a rep out and it's like, it's taking ages, you go for a sandwich, you go to the toilet, you come back, you finish off the rep, you should really be trying to apply as much power as possible. So that's actually going fast in terms of your body's applying power, but it just appears slow because the weight is crushing you, or it might be. So yeah, that's pretty much how you want to do it. In terms of how you set out your week, what you want to do is start with your main lift and start with your lower body. And how I do it is I do that on a Monday, and then if I'm able to, I prefer to do my max effort upper body day on the Wednesday. Sometimes it might happen on the Tuesday, but I like to try and have that day's rest and go on to the Wednesday. Then I'll take a day's rest, and then it'll be dynamic effort lower on the Friday, and then dynamic effort upper on the Saturday. Now, to perform the dynamic effort, I said that it's going to be lighter and you're working on speed, and it's going to be less reps potentially and more sets. But you're also going to half the weight, approximately. You're going to do about 40 to 60% of your max on that lift, be it the squat, the bench, or the deadlift, okay? But you're going to add something called accommodating resistance. I'll get there eventually. So accommodating resistance is what, you know, when you see the bands and the chains in the gym, and someone's got chains hanging off the bar, or they've got bands attached to it, and you kind of think, the chains look cool, do they serve a purpose? Or the bands look like a fad, what do they actually do? Well, if you imagine for both of them, they basically work like this. They're heavier at the top. I'm just going to use the bench press because you can see me do it. Bench press at the top, if you've got, say, 20 kilos of chains on either side and they're hanging off the bar, that's going to be 40 kilos total. And then as you come down and the chains bind up around on the floor, then you're going to say 35 kilos, 30, 25, all the way down to, you'll probably, depending on how you set the chains, there's going to be some resistance on there. But basically you might start out with 40 on the lockout, and as you're coming down, you only have an extra 10 on. Which means when you press it up, you're working on the speed, and you're coming out of the hole really fast, so you're able to apply more power, and it gets heavier on the way. Now this will kind of suck if your lockout is really the part where you start to fail. If that's your sticking point and it's up here for the bench press, and then you've got that last bit to go. But if you're weak off the chest, for example, and you're coming out of here and it's lighter, it's going to train you to be able to accept more load and work faster basically. And that's a very simple way of looking at it. Of course, if you wanted more explanation or you wanted a program set up, I could obviously do that. I know it's a cheap plug, but I got to pay the bills. I'm trying to keep it a semi-quick video, and actually the videos, I've had some problems with the camera, with the mic here, so this is one of many attempts that, for no fault of my own, mostly, it's not worked correctly. So, getting back to what we're actually talking about, as opposed to my ineptitudes with technology, we're looking at the exercises. There we go. I've actually got a little bit of cheat sheet right in front of me just to make sure that I don't ramble and do an hour video, because if you've seen the Buff Geek podcast, you know that, well, I can go on. So in terms of the exercises, do you go in every week and you do the squat on the Monday, and then you do the bench on the Wednesday, sorry, and then on your speed days, say you do either bands or chains, you do squat and bench again? Is that how it works? No, not exactly. How it works in terms of your main lift is you actually cycle through the exercises. Now, it's recommended to do a change every 1 to 3 weeks. Me personally, I usually change it every single week for my main lift, and I usually also change the assistance exercises every week because I've got a very short attention span. So this is how I would run it. For example, I would squat on Monday. Actually, this week I box squatted on Monday, and then on Wednesday I did a clean and a press up to, I wanted to go for a heavy set of 3, as heavy as I could go. And then today I'm going to do plyometrics onto a box, because that also works in terms of fast twitch muscle fibers and doing speed. But I'm also going to do some banded squats, I think, if I'm able to, in terms of if the squat racks are free and, you know, whatever. And then tomorrow I'm probably going to try out some speed bench and hit the 3 different grips, and then just work on get my bench technique really tight, pressing it off really, really fast. Now, if you don't have bands or chains, what you should do is, once you go to your 40 to 60% weight, add on about another 20% and try and work fast, really fast, in terms of rep speed, not in terms of rest. Now, you can change the rest periods for the speed days, and sometimes I like to go like every 30 seconds. Louis Simmons is a big fan of that. He says if you're fit enough, it's sometimes good just to do like every 30 seconds or 10 minutes, do a set, take 20 seconds rest or 40 seconds rest or whatever, just do that for the whole 10 minutes and just get a lot of volume going. Because you're wanting to increase your work capacity as well, which obviously adds to just load that you're taking through your body. So that's what I've done and doing this week. Next week, I won't box squat again, or it's unlikely. I mean, I might, because it went really well, but I feel like I could have went heavier. So I might actually box squat next week, but typically I'll change the exercise. So I might go to a safety squat bar, I might do a front squat, I could do an overhead squat, I might clean from the floor and go into a front squat as opposed to just taking it up here. I might do what I call a bodybuilder or a power lifter front squat. I might do a deadlift, I might do a sumo deadlift. So you've got to know what lifts you're actually working. So there's a list of them that you'd want to make up, and you'd basically choose, I'll do that lift this week, I'll do that lift the next week. And you could even, for example, run it like this. You could do back squat heavy, 5 sets of 5. The next week, back squat heavy, 5 sets of 4. Again, 5 sets of 3. And run it like that all the way down to 5 sets of 1. And you're obviously going to increase your weight because you're doing a little bit less reps. You could also take the deadlift, and this is maybe a way to do it if you don't have much variation at your gym, or you've got a home gym, you've got one bar sitting there, but you want to try and run it as best you can. You could do the deadlift, same thing, 5 sets of 5, 5 sets of 4, 5 sets of 3, and if you wanted to spice up a little bit more, you could run Squat 5 by 5, deadlift 5 by 5. Squat 5 by 4, deadlift 5 by 4. And that's 10 weeks of variation and changes in weight. So that's going to mean that your body never gets used to it and always has to be ready to improve. And that's one of the principles of it. In terms of your upper day, you're looking at things like bench press, different grips, floor press, if your triceps are, depending on your lockout is, if you've got a board press, or you can put something's called a telephone book press, or I quite often use a roller, depending on the size of the roller, bench down to the roller and press from there, and that's going to require more triceps. If you're weak off the chest, you might want to do a pause bench, or you might want to do a rack bench where you set it on the pins and you bench from nothing. You can also do overhead pressing, various. I think you get the idea. So that's how you'd run it. But then on the speed days, you're always going to do either speed squat or speed dead with either 40 to 60% off your top set, and then you're going to add 20% onto that if you don't have bands or chains, or approximately. And then on the upper day, you'll do the bench press. Now, got a couple of things right here. So how I run the program, that's a little bit of an explanation of what the conjugate method is, and how I run the main lifts, which is either max or speed. In terms of what I do for the rest of the workout, I pretty much follow a template as much as I can, and I run it like this. So I start off, say I do a back squat, okay? Just a regular old squat, okay? Then I would do the back offsets, which would be at about 80%. Say I'm doing 5 by 5, I'll take off 20% from that, which will make it 80% because math. And then I'll do 2 sets of 10, sometimes 3 sets of 10 with a slightly lower rest period. The main lift, I'll do 2 minutes rest. The back offsets, I'll do about 90 seconds rest. Now the main lift, if I'm going real heavy, I might go up to 3 minutes rest, and if I really just want to focus on strength that day, I might sit my ass down and do a 5-minute rest working on a single, but that's rare, I don't generally train singles that much anymore because the risk to reward ratio for me is just not there. So I'll do the back offsets. What helps, what you get from that is you're getting hypertrophy or hypertrophy. I've never been sure how to say it. Lots of people say it different ways. I think it's hypertrophy, but I'm sure someone might say it's hypertrophy. I don't know. Whatever. Muscle building. So I got my strength or I got my speed, and it's specific to the main lift. Then, which the reason you want to make the main lift very important is because they provide the most muscle, the most fat burning, the biggest release of testosterone, a whole bunch of stuff. And as a side, ladies, you don't have enough testosterone in your body to make you all big and bulky, so don't worry, this is for guys and girls, okay? And for any weight class, this will work. Probably better that you've had some experience or you've spoken to a coach, maybe me, about it, because you might have trouble with the exercise order, percentages and such, but the template works. So I do that for the bodybuilding purpose. Also, it means I can practice that lift some more at a lighter weight and really groove it in, especially if you're doing maybe a hard set of triples, and the first 2 go up and the third one is a grinder, and it's a grinder for all your 5 sets or 4 sets. You might lose your form a little bit because it's a maximum effort, and then you take 20% off, you're pumping out some reps, and then you can also work on the form. So that's because form is key. So this is how I do it. I do that, and then I go into the assistance exercises, and that will depend on what your weak point is. So for example, if you feel like your quads just aren't doing any of the work when you're squatting, you might want to do pitcher squats, or even some leg extensions, or something that's going to focus on the quads. If you feel like when you're benching, you get to about here and you just, that last little bit, you can't lock out, well, that's triceps there. So you're going to hit a lot of tricep work. So that'll be your main thing. So whatever your weakest point is, you're going to focus on that first. So it might seem counterintuitive to say when you're doing an upper body day, do bench press, triceps, then do back, shoulders and biceps, but the triceps is the weak point that's failing you. If you're weak off the chest, you're going to do, like I said before, something like a pin press, or you're going to work your chest muscles to build that up, because it's not the triceps that's failing you. If lockout's not a problem, the triceps are strong, the chest could be weak, or it could be the deltoids, or even the lats. So you'll choose your assistance exercises, and you'll keep them to about, I like to do about 4. Sometimes I'll do more. If I can, and depending on what I'm going for, I might make it into some sort of circuit. So I might superset 2, or even do 3 or 4, make it like a giant set. It depends on what my goal is. If I'm looking to have more strength in these lifts, if I'm looking to maybe get more fitness, increase my pump, and just save some time. Maybe I'm short on time and I got to go train someone. I'm just going to put this in a circuit fashion, maybe sacrifice a little bit of weight, and then get the job done. And then finally, what I'll do is this optional part here called pump assistance, or pump ass. It's always fun to do a little bit of pump ass. Yes, it is. So I'll quite often do that in a round system or in a superset fashion. These might not always be superset. They might just be go and do some straight sets, whatever. But this, I'll get some pumping. So upper day, for example, I might have some dumbbells and just do side raises, front raises, curls, and hammer curls, or something, or triceps behind the head, something like that, and really try and pump everything up. Then set the dumbbells down, have like a 30-second rest, go again, hitting all the muscle groups, and just fill the muscles with blood. For my lower day, I tend to make that a bit more fitness-based and core, so I'll do my core. So I could be doing hanging leg raises, and then do some bodyweight squats, and then some kettlebell swings, and then some back extensions. Again, dependent on what my weak points are, what I want to hit, what I haven't hit, because I've been focusing on more of the weak areas here. So you can see that the program gives you a lot of freedom, and really for me, I can get easily distracted and bored very easily. So, even I will go to some bodybuilding, some classic bodybuilding, a chest day, arms day, whatever, or Olympic lifting. But I always go back to this, and this is what how I train most of the year round, because it gives me so much freedom, and it allows me to assess things and work on them, as opposed to, well, I do shoulders day to day, so I do this thing with the shoulders, then I do the side raise, then I do the front raise. And it's fine to get a pump sometimes and switch the brain off, but I like to actually have a better purpose than just looking good or trying to get a pump at the gym. So that's how I run it. Here I might do, especially my lower days, I tend to do maybe, like I said, some fitness stuff. I might do some bag work or make like a little circuit in the hall. It just depends on what I'm able to do, and in terms of what's available and what time I'm at the gym. So this will take you can make it into a 2-hour workout if you want, and spend a whole bunch of time, or it could take you an hour or less. The main lift, say you do 3 sets of 5, heavy with 2 minutes rest, plus all your warm-ups and everything like that, of course. Then you go into the back off sets, do 3 sets of 10 at 80%. That's going to take you about half an hour, maybe 20 minutes, depending on how long you rest on your main lifts here, and if you keep to the 90 seconds rest here. And then this pumping it up and finding your weak points and making sure they're strong and there's no weak links in the chain, then this can take as long or as short as you want, basically. I will throw in there that you might not care that much about your arms. I don't actually train arms, like my biceps or whatever, that often, but I force myself to do something. I find it quite boring, but I force myself to do it because if your biceps, you never train them and you think, well, I get big biceps from doing the rows, doing this, doing the pull-ups, whatever, and maybe I do some farmer's walks at the end instead of this thing, or I do some strongman events and my biceps get enough work from that. Yeah, but you need to do a little bit of isolation, get some blood in there, and it just helps for injury prevention. There's a lot of powerlifters that hurt themselves when they're deadlifting because they don't do enough, bicep work. But that's usually if you're following like a linear full body squat bench deadlift method 3 times a week, and That's usually if you're following one of those, you don't put as much emphasis on your assistance work, because you generally think, well, I don't really need that much, but I just need to do the 3 things because I want to compete. You need to do some assistance work for sure, regardless of what you take away from this video, just to be healthy. Also, mixed grip. Guess what? If you do mixed grip, which is like that, that's when the bicep goes, because you're stronger here. But anyway, that's a video for another time, or a discussion for another time. This is how I run my training. I do it 4 days a week. Occasionally I'll go in there if I've got the time, or not got the time. I kind of have to stop myself from going another day, because sometimes I just go in for a pump day and I hit some things that I've not hit in the week, or I feel like could have been hit more. I try not to do it because it's very easy to overtrain, but also it's good to increase your work capacity. So it depends on your reason for it. Sometimes I'll throw in a 5th day and get a pump and maybe do some cardio or whatever, right? If you're fortunate enough to have a sled, drag the sled, because that doesn't encroach upon your recovery, but it will make you stronger and get more work capacity in. But again, I'm going on to another topic. So that's how I train. I hope that's been helpful for you. If you're interested in trying it, but you're like, it's a lot of information, or yeah, you answered these questions, maybe missed this thing out here, or whatever. If you want me to make you a plan, I can set you out the template, show you all the different lifts, what would constitute as a maximum effort lower, and what would constitute as a maximum effort upper, how you would do how you would do the accommodating resistance if you didn't have anything, or what bands to get, or if you should get chains, or whatever. If you want some help with it, give me a shout at Alpha Fitness. There's links in the description below, or at least there should be, and hit me up in the comments and let me know what you want me to talk about next. Catch you soon, #AYG. Boom.